is the Put It in the Air podcast. This is the Put It in the Air podcast.
Yes. Welcome in, everyone, to the Put It in the Air podcast. I'm your host, Brendan Casello, a.k.a. East Coast Virus.
And I'm Pascal Rawls Philippe, a.k.a. Punkson Drublick.
And things are looking good for some and bad for some, as this usually goes.
I mean, it doesn't look that bad. I think that the fact that we have kind of two tiers of teams, we have the winners and the losers.
There's a little crossover happening, and it's more the trickle down.
Hardly. I mean, we've got Bobo, who's like 5-5, but everyone else either has a winning record or a losing record.
That's true.
The losers are all fighting for those last few playoff spots, and the winners are feeling pretty okay.
Yeah. Hey, winners, any of you guys want to throw some games for your friends, the podcast hosts, so we can make the playoffs?
I mean, I feel like I deserve it. I've scored more than everyone ahead of me, or not
a few spots ahead of you. It is true.
Up until like 5th place, not including Colin, because Colin has actually scored more than everyone ahead of him up till 5th place. So, yeah, if y'all want to be nice, I'd be okay with it.
Yeah.
Maybe Scott, if you want to start some of your bye week players.
Yeah, and Bill, when I see you in the final week of the season, maybe you could start, a bunch of rookies.
I think that would still be bad for you, because your problem is not the other team, it's you.
I understand, and I agree, and I don't want to get too deep into it, but did it again.
We got time for that, my friend. We got time for that.
Oh, great. He's catching up to me.
So, speaking of catching up to you, I think we got some breaking news from this week, from today, actually.
Oh, yeah, big news.
Yeah, Shane Waldron, Bears offensive coordinator, was fired after only 10 games. Now, I think a lot of Bears fans are happy with this, but they're also wondering, should it have been head coach Matt Eberflus? Because he kind of sucks too.
I don't know. I really think that it was probably the right move, because you say they played 10 games, but I only saw like 7, and the first couple weren't that good. But the last 3 games have been terrible. The Bears have been terrible. So, after looking like they had it together, too. It's crazy.
What I was telling all the whiny Pats fans on the internets was that get ready for this week, because you'll get to see what an actual bad coaching staff looks like. They've been saying that Gerard and Alex Van Pelt should have been fired since, like, the preseason, which is pathetic to me. Like, really? We're not going to give them at least a season to see what they can do?
You got to give them some time to see what they can do.
And
you have to.
Drake is playing great. So it's like, if the most important development piece on your team is doing really well, don't you want to keep some kind of continuity for that guy?
Yeah. I mean,
at least like the Bears, like Caleb is looking like booty.
But you guys, the Patriots, your roster is nothing to be like throw a hat at,
right?
You know?
All the more reason, right?
The Bears roster, however, is a cast of star-studded superstars and first-round pick young guys. Like,
I mean, what they were saying before the season, or even before the draft.
I don't want to hear about Keenan Allen's diet. Right?
Was that Caleb was coming into the best situation for a first-round pick in NFL history. And he looks like the 4th best rookie quarterback.
Yeah. I bet they're kicking themselves for not pursuing Deontay Johnson instead of Keenan Allen, because that probably would have went better for all of them.
Probably not. But speaking of people who are kicking themselves, how's your 5-37 bet?
5-37 bet. It's going well. Let me just say, made another mistake in the Put It in the Air league and took a L this week.
Really?
I was actually expecting to lose for the first time this season, because I was facing Marv. He has a star-studded cast of wide receivers. His team is really solid. He didn't perform that well either. He had a couple guys that did their thing, but it was a doable, I had an opportunity that I didn't take.
It was not an unsurmountable task.
Exactly.
It was something that you could have pulled off.
And it was something that I changed for the first time this season, which proved to be the losing effect. And I wouldn't have even said that before last night's game, but my kicker outperformed Matt Stafford, his quarterback. And I thought to myself, oh, it would be fun to have a quarterback versus quarterback Monday night matchup. Like, plus I have the kicker, so like give myself a little extra oomph.
Right.
Plus, so I bench Kyler Murray playing the Jets, thinking that little short man ain't gonna be doing much against the Jets monster of a defense.
Sure.
And obviously, as I watched that game, I was like, man. Anyways,
See, that's why you should have paid a little more attention
to what the Jets have been doing.
Yeah, the Jets defense has not been very good ever since they fired Saleh. Like, sure, they scored 20 points. Like, congrats. But in the real world, I think a lot of people are disappointed in how the Jets defense has been performing since the firing.
Yeah, actually, that's so true. But on top of that, I had this working for me. Tua coming back on a primetime game on Monday night. You know, the Rams defense is good, but I felt like that was going to be a 42-41 game, and it was not. Listen, was not.
After the first drive of the game, it looked like you had made the right choice.
Yeah.
I was excited, right? I think they gave the ball to Achane 3 times, and Waddle had like 2 catches
they were targeting
for
him like
60
crazy.
yards.
I can't believe
I was like,
he didn't get 10
this is gonna be a great week.
Yeah.
And then Tua, like, what happened? Like, he was playing bad.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Obviously, I won't be starting him. Oh, wait, Kyler's on bye this week, so guess what? I get to play Tua again.
Or you could drop him and pick up someone else.
No, he has a pretty good matchup. I think he's playing Jacksonville or something like that. I'm not sure.
Let's hope. Yeah.
But
I need some points going up against our number 2 team this week.
Yeah. And then, you know, when it came to the 5-37 bet, my other leagues, the Lions Den and Jays League, I had a very minimal lead going into Monday night playing against Puka Nacua. I was up by like 2.9 points. It was a wash, you know what I mean? But
you can't expect Puka to get kicked out the game for punching a guy 2 weeks in a row.
It would have worked the week before, but and then, you know, it didn't help the fact that I played Jared Goff as my quarterback in that league, and you also lose points for sacks too. So like 5 picks and several sacks.
Did he score any points?
He put up like over I think 12, which is impressive. Because I have the stack with him and Amon-Ra over there as well, and you know that proves well when Amon-Ra is doing well. But so I lost that one. I don't remember the final score. I kind of just was like waiting, like kind of rooting for Puka because I was like, just put me out of my misery, please. And then in the family league, I faced my nephew, who's the number 1 overall team, and blew him away by like 50 points.
Wow.
What up, Jacob? What up? So I got another win.
Little bit. I'm sorry.
He's a little smart guy. He's actually he's way taller than us. He's like 6'3". He's like maybe taller than Carrie. He's like 6'5", maybe. I don't know.
Really? Damn. Don't you hate being the short guy in your family?
Yeah, no, it's not that bad. You know, I get that Napoleonic,
complex.
extra oomph, you know. Otherwise, I'd be a lazy log. But yeah, I beat Jacob, doing well in that league. It's looking pretty good. The 5-37 bet stands at 17 wins, where if I stop right now, my wife, Julia, will have selected the correct amount of wins.
So you're going to throw the rest of the season so that she could win?
Yeah, I'm going to give her $5 and maybe she'll give me something good for Christmas, you know?
Ooh.
She always gets me good stuff for Christmas. Thank you, baby.
Sexual.
Yeah, no, it's clearly not going to finish with 17 wins. I do face I face Frank this week. It's not a guaranteed win, but he's on like a 6-game losing streak.
6-game losing streak.
The free-falling auto draftees.
Yeah, that's got to hurt.
Damn. So stay tuned.
If you lose to me, then and I don't get top score, it's got to feel bad.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. That's your first win without getting the top score.
It is.
Damn. And man, I thought Colin was sure. Oh wait, Colin.
Yeah, he got it.
He got it. Oh,
but
okay.
he basically squeaked by.
He got it on
by
Thursday
like
night.
8 points or something. Yeah.
Yeah, not too impressive.
Yeah.
Really impressive Thursday night. But other than that, whoa.
Yeah, it looks like Jamar is going to have the top player score for the year yet again. I think this is like 3rd or 4th time in his career, so that's impressive.
Yeah, he's outstanding. That guy is just.
I mean, he's
good.
up and down. Like he has some weeks where it's just like, really, you only got me 8 points.
That's just because of the team he's
he'll
on.
give you 55 points.
He has a great quarterback. Colin had the stack on top of that. Too bad he started Gesicki because that made such a shiny performance of the stack like kind of took it down a couple notches, but it
Yeah.
didn't really matter because
I mean,
33 and 55
coming
is
into
insane.
Sunday morning with like 96
Mhm.
points. Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah. So,
I think
Pascal.
I've scored less than 96 points for my whole team before this season.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. During the season a few times.
Yeah.
Pascal is at 18, Jay at 19, Billy 22, Scott 23, and Marv 24 for the wins in the 5 and 37 bet. So
yeah, you've got 12 games left. Because I assume we're not including the playoffs.
oh no, that doesn't include it.
So the best you can do is 29 wins. If you sweep the rest of the year in all 3 leagues, but I think that like Billy, Scott, Marv, y'all might be in some money.
Yeah, you might be in some money, and it goes to $10 too. Remember, so all right, guys. So with that being said, let's move forward.
It's in the air.
It's in the air. Some of the biggest questions of the fantasy and NFL season thus far.
So this is kind of funny because I came up with this question before we found out that Waldron was fired.
That's good. I didn't even see it yet. That's
But
great.
so let's rock with it anyway. The question is, how long should offensive coordinators like Shane Waldron and Alex Van Pelt be given to make their offense work? And what makes firing a coach less than 1 season into their term the right decision? As a Patriots fan, like I said, Pats fans have been complaining about Alex Van Pelt basically since the preseason. Guys have been calling for his head this entire time. I think it's ridiculous. I think that if you're going to hire a guy to bring in a new system to try to install what he's got going on, then you want to at least give him 1 season, right? Like, if you are switching offensive coordinators, especially with a young quarterback, a rookie quarterback, that is a recipe for disaster. Just look at Trevor Lawrence, right? He had the shit show that was, who was it? Urban Meyer? Is that who his coach was? His rookie
oh
year?
yeah, that was a collapse. Worse than the
and-
Cowboys this year.
Right? And that was just like horrible for his development. So then he has a new offensive coordinator the second year. I'm not sure, but I think he might have another one this year. It's like, this is not how you develop continuity for a young guy. And different offensive coordinators ask for different things. One might want for you to go in the shotgun with your left foot forward. Another one might want your right foot forward. Another one might want you to be even-footed. Like, little things like that mean that you can't focus as much on the things that really matter, like reading defenses, like getting continuity with your offensive line, with your wide receivers. So
This is also brings up a great point of the fact that any coaching job, they need some time to get their team acclimated to them, right?
right.
Otherwise, you fall into that 10-year rebuild, that 20-year awful bag over the head team. And who knows, the Patriots, the Bears, they might be in for that. I kind of hope so. I hope they're in the new Browns and Lions, because the Giants have been doing their best at being that team for the last 5 years,
Since
6
Eli
years.
retired, right?
Yeah, and minus that one playoff year where we won a playoff game, it was epic. And it really,
God, that's pathetic to say epic is winning one playoff game.
yeah, it was epic. And it kind of is turning against us now, because that's what got Daniel Jones that $160 million. And
Yeah, that's got to hurt.
I don't think he's that bad, but I don't think he's that good. So,
Yeah, I think he is that bad, and I don't think he's that good.
well, we'll see what team gets out of the hole first out of all the teams that are down there right now.
Yeah, I'll say that, trying to wrap this up, that the Shane Waldron thing, I think that if you are not showing development for your number 1 overall pick, if you have a team that, at least on paper, is viewed as, like I said, the best landing spot for any first overall pick ever, and you're seeing everyone on the team do badly, okay, I can kind of understand wanting to get rid of the guy. If you're Alex Van Pelt and you've been starting practice squad players for 3/4 of your offensive line, you've got wide receivers who let's face it, are not really the best in the league.
What about Polk, man? He had a whole controversy on.
Polk is disappointing. I feel like that does fall somewhat on the coaching staff, not so much on the offensive coordinator, but there are ways to get your players involved. So that's definitely a black eye for him. But I mean, when you have a team that's just not set up to succeed, you can't really blame the coordinators. You can't even blame the players.
You got to let things.
You just have to develop.
Exactly.
You have to hope
you have to let things pan out and see what works and what doesn't work.
Right. And those guys that will be part of the team going forward, you want to see development from them, but you don't expect to see holistic growth. You don't expect to see your fifth center, your fourth left guard developing, because you don't expect them to be on the team in a year or two.
Yeah. It's very interesting. I think that teams are too harsh. Plus, we don't really get to see the behind the scenes stuff. So maybe he wasn't good with the locker room. Like he didn't have the guys' trust, or there was a management issue with the coach and head coach and owner and GM and all that.
Yeah, losing the locker room will get any coach fired. That's true.
Yeah, or not being a good part of the management pyramid of structure of how the team is placed,
Or you have sex with the owner's wife, or, something like that.
A wild card,
Yeah, totally.
So,
all right, so what else is going on? What else is in the air this week?
Well, if you guys turn on TMZ this week, there's a good chance Shane Waldron might be on there with some extra information.
If that's the case, then I need to go buy a lottery ticket right now.
So, my biggest question of the week, now follow me. Will the Chiefs lose before the Cowboys win again?
Ooh.
Yeah.
All right. I didn't know that this is where we were going with that. So I need to go see
Some things need to be a surprise.
I need to go see who the Cowboys are playing.
You do that, and I'll give you a little run in with a great week of football. The Chiefs lost the game to the Broncos. I mean, for 4 quarters, they were not winning that game. There was no way. The Broncos even had the freaking last 2 minutes figured out. They got the final first down. The Chiefs were out of timeouts. They had a chip shot, 34-yard field goal. And it was, honestly, my wife and I were sitting there. We started chanting like, get it, get it, get it, get it, get it. And when that shit didn't go up in the air and he goes, oh, blocked. It was just, I just got the goosebumps from thinking about that call. It was just I didn't want the Chiefs to win, but that was just one of those feel-good football moments where the announcer like gets in your feels and you're like, holy shit, why am I about to start crying with joy? This was insane. It was a great way to keep the undefeated season going, and it kind of puts me almost on the bandwagon of maybe they can have an undefeated season. It would be the worst undefeated season team
of the
with
three.
an undefeated. Yeah, the worst.
Yeah, definitely.
They are not an undefeated team. It would be great to see them go to the Super Bowl and get wiped out by a NFC.
It'd be even better. They go. I mean, I would hate if they went 17-0, but
me too.
If they went 17-0 and then lost in the, I guess, second round, but first round of the playoffs for them, that would be even more.
That would probably be more likely than them making the Super Bowl.
Right.
Because they're not that good.
They're that good.
They're not.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
But
the Broncos have a great defense, but they couldn't do anything against the Broncos.
Let's take a look at the Cowboys' remaining schedule.
All right, ready? Before you say anything, loss. They're going to lose everything. They lost it all.
I don't think so.
All
right. So they have the Commanders.
Loss.
Mm-hmm. I agree. The Giants.
Great. Exciting.
Win.
Loss. No, they're going to lose.
The Giants are bad.
Yeah, but the Cowboys are a Pop Warner team right now.
And the Giants
they're terrible.
Are also a Pop Warner. They lost.
You're
the Giants
only saying this because you have CD Lamb.
No.
You have CD Lamb, and you're hoping that there's some shot in hell that CD Lamb is going to be reasonable.
However, the Giants just lost to the Panthers.
Yeah.
The Panthers are
garbage, yeah.
Probably the worst team in football.
Yeah, I'd agree.
So,
yeah. It was I'm not backing the Giants.
The Giants, I'm going to say the Giants game at least 50-50.
I can't wait to talk about that game.
No, I missed the game. So, Texans this week.
Loss.
Commanders the week after.
Loss.
Giants the week after that.
Probably loss.
I guess that's Thanksgiving Day.
Okay, that's probably their best chance of a win, but they're going to lose.
Then the Bengals after that.
Can't win.
Then the Panthers.
They will lose, and then we will laugh.
Then the Buccaneers loss. Eagles loss. Commanders at the end of the season.
Loss.
Very well. They might have their playoff spot already selected. They might not be playing their starters. That
They
could be
also
a win.
might be playing for the top seed on bye week.
So I can
So-
I can realistically see 3 wins on the Cowboys' remaining schedule, and the first one would be the Giants on Thanksgiving Day.
Bullshit.
I mean, listen, the Giants are really bad.
We'll see. We'll see.
The Giants are really bad.
Let's let the players and the coaches
They
show
will.
us.
Oh, they will.
Yeah.
So that means that do I think that the Chiefs will lose in the next 2 games? That's a tough one. Let's see. Who do the Chiefs have? Bum. All right, they've got the Bills, the
Loss.
Panthers, the Raiders. Yeah, I could definitely see them
Supposed to
losing to the
lose.
Bills.
Supposed to.
I could definitely see them losing to the Bills. The Bills have been playing well. The Bills always play well against the Chiefs, even though they always lose to them. I could see this being the year that they win. Keon Coleman should be back. I guess we'll see.
Then you got the Panthers,
they're
the Raiders.
winning. The Raiders. Now the Raiders are the last team to beat them, and they almost beat them again this year.
Divisional
right?
matchup. That's how they go.
Yeah, they just beat the Raiders 27-20 a few weeks ago. So I could definitely I'm gonna say that the Chiefs are gonna lose before the Cowboys win.
Before the Cowboys. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. It's a good question.
I mean, look at this. The Chiefs, like you said, beat the Broncos by 2 off of a blocked field goal. The Broncos are not a good team. Very good defense. Don't get me wrong. One of the best defenses in the league, but they're not a good team.
Yeah.
Almost lost to them. Almost lost to the Buccaneers. Just beat them in overtime. The Bucs are a good team, but they're missing their 2-star wide receivers. They should have beat them by more.
They would
almost lost to the Raiders. That's 3 games in a row that the Chiefs have almost lost. I think that this week against the Bills,
They beat a 49ers team that was depleted of almost all their guys.
yeah,
that
but
week.
they beat them pretty handily. They beat
because the
Saints pretty-
49ers had nobody on
But
the field.
nonetheless, I
Yeah.
mean, you still got to give them credit for it. Barely beat the Chargers, barely beat the Falcons,
Barely beat the
barely beat the
Bengals.
Bengals. Like their whole season is them barely beating teams.
Their whole season is a 1-score win.
yeah,
you know,
yeah. So
so-
yeah, I'm gonna give them the loss this week. I think that they're losing.
All right, cool. Well, with that, let's move along to our next segment, which is, Dude,
What happened?
we'll start the Dude, What Happened segment, Pascal, with...
Listen, this is my first time on the show, all right? I'll know how this goes.
Pun down.
What a scramble. I prematurely hit the button while he was talking. Whoops.
That's okay.
We
We
both
suck
messed
here,
up.
all
1
right?
to 1.
We're rookies like everyone else, all right?
We're better than some.
Yeah, worse than others. So, the Bengals at the Ravens. Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow are the most dynamic quarterback wide receiver duo in the NFL, as Chase catches a whopping 11 catches for 264 yards and 3 touchdowns, and Burrow throws for 428 yards and 4 touchdowns in a rout of the... Hold on. No, scratch that. It turns out the Bengals' defense is worse than their offense is good. Meanwhile, Lamar doesn't need the best wide receiver in the NFL to throw for 4 touchdowns, and he doesn't need Derrick Henry to play like Superman to get the win, as he and Lamar combined for just 101 rushing yards. But the Bengals coach, acting like the Ravens coach, allows for Lamar and co to leave with the win.
These two offensive heavy hitters didn't disappoint, as Lamar and Burrow put up about 33 each, and Jamar Chase puts all his fantasy managers through college with 55.4 all-purpose fantasy points. The Bengals go for 2 for the win come game's end and had about 16 players on the field, including the referees. The last play reminded me of the 12 days of Christmas. 5 missed calls, 4 hands to the face, 3 face masks, 2 personal fouls, and a team of paid-off referees. Baltimore 35, Cincinnati 34.
The Giants at the Panthers. Daniel Jones is back to playing like his brother Mac Jones, just with much fatter pockets, as he puts up a measly 190 yards and 2 picks on 37 attempts as rookie Tyrone Tracy is the only offensive player to not play offensively. Even though he fumbled the ball in overtime to give the other team the win. Meanwhile, Bryce Young benefits from playing a Giants team that is surprisingly worse than the bottom of the barrel Panthers team he supposedly leads, even though he only puts up 126 yards and 1 touchdown on 25 attempts. Fortunately for the residents of the Carolinas, newly rich running back Chuba Hubbard has his best day as a pro as he runs for 155 yards and 1 touchdown.
Why did that sound like it started to get Jamaican?
I don't know, because I'm bad at
This one came to you from Carolina, Germany, where the home team took an early lead. The G-Men post a less than pretty comeback and even win the overtime coin toss, only to have the rookie fumble on the first play of overtime. The rest has been seen before. Carolina 20, Giants 17.
The Broncos at the Chiefs. Bo Nix plays well, throwing for 22 of 30, 215 yards and 2 touchdowns. And the Broncos beat the Chiefs with a last minute... What's that? They what? Meanwhile, the Chiefs win again by blocking a last-minute field goal, and I'm sick of writing about these guys.
Oh! Blocked! The announcement on the final play of this game couldn't have been more epic. The outcome could have been, though, as the Chiefs stay undefeated after getting handled by Denver. Chiefs 16, Denver 14.
The Steelers at the Commanders. 14 of 28 for 195 yards for Russ isn't great, but 3 touchdowns to 1 pick is the type of efficiency you want when your QB isn't playing his best. And it helps to have a guy like Pickens catching 5 for 91 and a highlight reel tutty. Meanwhile, Jaden Daniels has cooled down from his hot start as he also throws for a 50% completion rate, but 0 touchdowns and only 5 rushing yards as the Commanders rely on their running backs and kicker to put all their points on the board.
They say it doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. A win is a win. Well, in my opinion, Zach Ertz had obtained a little more than an inch. The NFL's opinion, however, painted a different picture, as the outcome falls in the Steelers' favor, and Russell Wilson is still the NFL's biggest tool. Steelers 28, Washington Football Team Commanders 27.
The Vikings at the Jaguars. The ghosts are back for Sam Darnold as he throws 3 interceptions in a game where he doesn't look much better than his Jaguars counterpart. But 5 yards per carry from Aaron Jones and 4 of 4 for field goal kicker John Parker Romo does the job against a very bad and very injured Jags team. Meanwhile, Mac Jones makes his first start with his new team as Trevor Lawrence considers cutting his hair. But unfortunately for Jags fan, Mac versus Darnold plays out like they were both on the teams that drafted them with 2 picks from Mac. And the running backs don't help any as they combine for 48 yards on 13 carries.
Minnesota doesn't need a good offensive performance to check off another W. Just a great defense and an audition for a brand new kicker. Looks like the Jaguars really do need the long-haired weirdo to compete, as Minnesota beats the Jaguars 12-7.
The Falcons at the Saints. Kirk Cousins' 500-yard game seems like it was a lifetime ago, but he and the Falcons should have no problem beating the lowly Saints when he throws for 300 yards and only 1 interception, while Bijan Robinson runs for 116 yards and 2 touchdowns. Right? Meanwhile, the Saints are glad to have QB Derek Carr back, even without his top 2 receivers, because who needs Shaheed and Olave when you have, checks notes, Marquez Valdez-Scantling to explode for 109 yards and 2 touchdowns on 3 catches? At least that's what it says on my sheet.
The Saints don't need Olave, Lattimore, or the coach to finally get another win. Just an MVS. Who'd have thought? Bijan shines as the young-ho coup doesn't look himself, with 3 missed field goals, where, if my math checks out, would have put them in the driver's seat to a victory. However, the Saints win this one, 20-17.
49ers at Buccaneers. Brock plays well by distributing 25 completions and 356 yards to his 5 main guys. But kicker Jake Moody missing 3 of 6 field goals prompts Deebo Samuel's temper to be as short as the Spanx he wore on the way to the stadium. Meanwhile, Baker makes good use of his running backs and tight ends as his wide receiver options function much better as blockers than receivers.
Baker really is a bad dude and should no longer be on the QBs we all laugh at list, as he puts up a tremendous effort in trying to outduel an almost fully healthy Niners team. San Francisco, however, stops this effort with a kick to seal the game after 3 misses from Jake Moody, who just returned from injury. Someone must have found the WD-40 for his rusty leg as the 49ers win 23-20.
The Bills at the Colts. Josh Allen tries to outsuck his opponent, as he renews his case for the most overrated QB in the league by throwing for 280 yards and 2 picks on 37 attempts. But luckily for Bills fans, they were playing the Colts. Meanwhile, the aforementioned Colts started 60-year-old Joe Flacco after benching disappointing first-round pick Anthony Richardson for being tired, and rode him to the tune of 272 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 3 picks on 37 attempts, as the Colts coaching staff decides passing 35 times with their backup is smart, and running more than 21 times with their superstar is dumb.
It's hard to understand how the Bills didn't score all 50 points in this game and shut out Indy 50-0. However, after an almost immediate pick 6, they continued to let Indy seem like they were in the game. In the end, the Bills were really just the cat toying around with the mouse before they went in for the kill. Buffalo 30, Indy 20.
The Patriots at the Bears. In the battle between the 1st overall pick and the 3rd overall pick, Drake May has his worst game of his young career as he faces one of the best defenses in the league and only throws for 184 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 pick on 25 attempts. However, a return to respectability for the Patriots' run game and defense makes it so Drake doesn't have to do it all. Meanwhile, the Bears coaches show whiny Pats fans what bad coaching really looks like, as it seems they're ruining yet another star quarterback in the Windy City, as Caleb and the quote-unquote best situation for a rookie number 1 pick, QB pick in NFL history, is held to 142 total yards of offense.
The Bears must have left their playbook in London as they followed up their 3-game win streak with a dismal 3-game losing streak to get manhandled by the Patriots team that will very well have a top 5 pick in the next season's draft reflects some serious growing pains for Caleb and company. As New England special teams lock in the win with 9 sacks and 4 field goals, New England wins 19, Chicago 3.
The Titans at their Chargers. Will Levis is back in the starting position, much to the dismay of Titans fans everywhere. But he plays pretty well, even though he only threw for 175 yards on 23 attempts. but connected for 2 touchdowns to Calvin Ridley. Meanwhile, Justin Herbert is playing well as a secondary option as he throws for 20 more yards than the Chargers run for as a team in a game that was never really close after the first quarter.
The Chargers continue to get it done with underwhelming offensive performances, as Tennessee's running room gets a little banged up, and all they can do is see when Calvin Ridley is open to stay competitive. Chargers 27, Titans 17.
The Jets at the Cardinals. I'd like to make a joke about the Jets looking like a Jersey Shore episode, but I've never actually seen the show, so I'll just say the name Snooki and assume everyone knows what I'm trying to say. Meanwhile, the Cards essentially played a not-so-good college team and looked good doing it, as the Call of Duty jokes just aren't hitting their mark lately.
It's a wrap for the season and a huge letdown for the New York Football Jets, as the Aaron Rodgers experiment is using some expired ingredients. Even if they win out rest of season, there is no guaranteed playoff spot waiting for them. Arizona showed up as Kyler and the Birds did whatever they wanted in this one, dominating the Jets 31-6.
The Eagles at the Cowboys. Jalen Hurts throws for 2 touchdowns and runs for 2 more as he takes part in all 4 Eagles touchdowns in a game that looked more like an exhibition match than a regular season NFL game. Meanwhile, the Cowboys look as pathetic without Dak as they do with him.
The Cowboys. I would love to spend 5 minutes with Stephen A. Smith the Monday morning after this one. Dallas only plays the first half and decides to bow out on this sunny day. May have to tear the stadium down after this rout. Philadelphia 34, Dallas 6.
The Lions at the Texans. Jared Goff becomes the first quarterback to throw 5 interceptions in a game since the Lions' last franchise QB was in town. But the Lions show this isn't the same Lions team of old, as their defense keeps them in the game, and their offense never stops gnawing on menisci. Meanwhile, the Texans average 1.8 yards per carry from their star running back, and CJ Stroud plays okay, but not okay enough as he throws 2 picks of his own in what's shaping up to be his sophomore slump without star receiver Nico Collins, who was back but not yet playing.
Goff throws more picks than the team punts, as his 5-interception performance proves to somehow be enough. Detroit's defense tightened the clamps towards the end of this game, and the kicker seals Houston's fate on this Sunday night comeback, as Detroit comes back to win 26-23.
The Dolphins at the Rams. Another turnover-plagued game from teams that were expected to be among the league's best when the season started. Tua looked good, then he looked bad, then he looked good, then he looked bad. But he looked good enough to score more points than the other team, which is what really matters in the end. And his D looked really good. Ayo! Meanwhile, the Rams are as healthy as you can expect at this time of year, but it doesn't really matter as Stafford is not very good. Kyron is pedestrian, and the whole team is kept out of the end zone.
The defenses came to play in the first half as the offense trickled in somewhere in the second, and everyone but the kickers seemed to do much of anything in the fourth quarter. Sprinkle in a couple of Miami touchdowns somewhere in there, as Miami will win 23-15.
Man, that was a struggle.
It was a struggle. You coughed so much that we could probably fill a shot glass with the amount of spew.
Probably. Man, I was telling you before we started, I've been dealing with a sore throat, getting over whatever my daughter gave me last week.
And he also told me, he's like, yeah, I told him, I was thinking of changing the voice. I want to do different voices as we go, for the pun down to kind of give it a little more flavor. And Pascal's like, I'm going to do the same voice. But then he decided, I might not be able to do the same voice. I'm gonna do a new voice, and he's like, I'm not gonna tell you. I assume that was the German,
yeah, it was
the
just
German,
the
one?
German
the
one.
German Jamaican, the Jamaican.
Yeah, the Jamaican. Yeah. All of my accents become Jamaican once I start doing them enough. So I
Real
expected
quick.
that.
Real quick,
Yeah.
say beer can in British, in a British accent.
A beer can.
You just said bacon in a Jamaican accent.
Bacon.
Beer can.
Beer can.
Beer can.
A beer can. Beer can.
Could you pass the beer can?
Oh, that's funny. All right. That was good.
It's lovely.
I would laugh, but I didn't think it was funny.
Well, you could listen to it later and have a little chuckle by yourself.
Yeah.
Speaking of chuckles by themselves.
More like speaking of coughing and fucking up the whole show, let's get to injuries.
There should be no chuckles when it comes to injuries.
Yeah, unless you're Brandon being an asshole.
Which
saying
was a
he
clear...
wishes that a guy got injured
in the first quarter.
In the first quarter.
Because he came back and it was like an injury scare. I wanted Marv to be scared. And then Marv texted me and said, I was trying to put in Nico Collins instead of Chuba Hubbard, but the game started in the morning and I was like, I hate you.
That would have been huge.
Yeah, it would have been like benching Kyler Murray for Tua or something like that.
It would have been way worse than that.
I just want to stab something. I think I'll go for my hamstring.
Wait till you get into the subway, because I'd rather not get stabbed. So, speaking of injuries.
Speaking of getting stabbed or other.
All right, so let's start with T. Higgins, the guy who is always hurt. He's still hurt. Next. No, he might be back this week, but there's high chance of re-injury.
And he's got a bye week next week. So
yeah, got a bye week next week, so there's
probably hold
probably
him
a
out.
good chance they're going to hold him out. I'm crossing my fingers because Scott's going to play him if he plays, and I'd rather not see that.
Colin's crossing his fingers because half his fantasy production would come with T. Higgins being benched.
Right, that's true. All right, then we had people coming back, but who cares about them?
Yeah, who cares?
Then we've got Isaiah Pacheco, who
cares?
was breaking news today
He broke his leg. He's done.
he was taken off of IR today, so his 21-day window is open. But he'll likely be back week 12 or week 13. He needs some ramp up, most likely.
Wait, isn't the 21-day window before they are taken off IR? So he's taken off IR. Like, the 21-day window is to come off of injured reserve.
Is it? Am I fucking that
so
up?
So he's
Okay.
he could just be questionable for the rest of the year. Like, he's off injured reserve, so now he's just going to be questionable and out.
Okay.
The 21-day window has to do with the
Comes
actual
before
reserve.
you come off.
Because then
Okay.
you would just stay on injured reserve if you don't eclipse
Okay, I
that
thought
20
you
days.
reverted back to IR if you don't
No,
get
no,
put
yeah.
onto the roster.
No,
Okay,
it's before
okay.
you're off IR, and if you're put on IR again, then you're done for the season.
Okay, heard you. But there chances are he'll likely be back next week, not this week. So
I doubt
check
it.
out. I mean, look at Nico.
I just want Colin just to be like, no,
just to
He's
start him.
wrong. Why are you lying on the podcast? You owe everyone an apology.
I'm sorry, Colin.
yeah,
I
he's
hope
not
that
coming
I'm
back.
wrong.
Maybe next year.
Maybe. All right. Nico Collins, he was back last week but didn't play. He only had one practice, so chances are he'll be back this week. So whoever's playing Marvellis, sorry, sucks to be you.
Yeah, it really does.
Then we've got Mike Evans. He might be back week 12. There's a high chance of re-injury. He's over 30, hamstring injury. Those are not good things to put together in a sentence. So they might hold him out to like week 13. We'll see.
You might have him for the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I was really liking how things were looking with Bucky and Rashi. They both put up.
Rashad.
Jesus, I suck at this.
Rashid,
who said that?
you
Who
know,
said I should do
tomato,
this? Like,
tomato, potato,
I don't
potato.
even know the guys on my own damn team. All right, so I've got like Rashad, Rashid.
She-Rod.
Yeah, that guy too.
That's off fantasy, though. Yeah.
Now we've got Brian Thomas Jr., who actually played, but he had a dip in production that's likely related to
2
his
weeks in a
injury.
row. 2 weeks in a row.
So he'll probably be getting back up to full speed next week, the week after. So keep starting him.
Please come back.
Trevor Lawrence. I think that they're trying to decide whether he's going to get surgery. If he does get surgery, he's going to miss the rest of the season. If he doesn't, then he could come back and play, but I don't think anyone's starting him anyway.
My cat just got surgery, and they shaved her belly. So I'm wondering if
Are
he
they
gets
gonna
surgery, they
shave
might
his belly?
shave his belly and maybe his head.
Oh, well.
Hopefully he gets
that'd be
surgery
interesting.
in the long hair area. I'm not against long hair. I just
Do you want him to get brain surgery? Is that what you're saying?
No. I think he looks like a smart guy. I don't think he has any issues up there. I'm hoping.
You could tell how smart people are by looking at them.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's all about the eyes. You just look at the
Wow.
eyes, you know?
My
When I
God.
look at the long hair
That
weirdo,
is
I'm like
an impressive
4.2 GPA, clearly, or higher.
It is an impressive skill.
Yeah, well,
Um,
when I look in the mirror, it's not as impressive. I start thinking if it's actually true or not.
so we found out this morning that for sure Dak Prescott is done for the season.
We found that out last week, dude. He's done.
No, but it's actually
It's
confirmed
official.
today.
I know, sorry.
He tore his hamstring,
Aw.
and that's it, folks. That's it.
Ah.
So for me, as probably the only person starting a Cowboys wide receiver, I'm really hoping that Cooper Rush or Trey Lance could do something productive.
Good luck. One more note
Not
on
likely.
that. One more note on that. All you Cowboys fans who are not fans of Dak, here's what you get when you don't have Dak. Enjoy
Yeah,
it.
right?
Yeah, you guys think
You thought
that's
he
the
sucked?
concoction
You
you need?
thought he sucked? This is what suck looks like.
Yeah. He is actually really good, and I hope he finds himself in another town.
Yeah,
next year.
I'm a big Dak fan. I don't think he's top 5.
No.
but I think he's top 10.
He could be top 5 on another team, but the Jerry Jones experiment, that guy is just a downward spiral. They should
maybe.
tattoo a downward spiral on his face.
All right, so then we've got Drake London with a hip pointer. He's day to day, so check the practice report. Day to day can turn into week to week. We're hoping that that's not the case. So yeah, check out the practice report to find out what's going on with him. Keon Coleman has a wrist injury. He's likely back this or next week. Again, check the practice report. Amari Cooper also has a wrist injury. I don't know what they're doing over there in Buffalo, but maybe they should get a girlfriend. But he's probably back this week. Jalen McMillan, someone that no one's starting, has a hamstring injury, probably back this week, but who cares? Brian Robinson, someone that you would want to start, apparently might have had a setback with his hamstring injury, which is no good. Which means that he might be out another week or 2. Check the practice report, folks. Michael Pittman, who Brendan for some reason thought that someone else might want to pick up after he dropped him, but no one did.
I got him on waivers with high priority. So I'm sure that there's probably somebody out there that was like, ooh, for the name.
Well, anyway.
And the keeper value.
He's had a back injury since week 5. And this is the first week that he's out with it, so that might not bode well for his prospects going forward. The Colts just signed him to a whole bunch of money, and this season looks like pretty much a lost season. So we'll see how they manage him throughout the rest of the season. But Brendan, I wouldn't be starting him anytime soon if I were you.
He will be a stalwart on my bench.
Yeah, you mean the guy that you just said might have keeper value, might stick on your bench?
He will, for this season, he will be a stalwart. Emphasis on the wart. It's like one of those ugly things that you just have to let sit there.
And another one of your players. Oh, no, you dropped him, didn't you?
dropped him.
Smart man.
Yes, I am smart.
Isaiah Likely. Hamstring injury. No bueno. Average 2-week injury. There's some re-injury risk. He'll probably be back next week or the week after, but that doesn't mean he's worth picking up.
Let's talk about something that's actually important. You missed 2 other tight end injuries. Dalton Kincaid, knee injury.
But he's coming back. He should be fine.
Not really. He tried to return to the game and couldn't go.
Right.
So he might be back.
Yeah.
And then Sam Laporta at the end of the game
Yeah.
also got injured.
But he should be fine also.
We will see.
Yeah, from what I'm seeing, that's why I didn't put them on there, because they're expected to play this week.
But those are guys that actually people will rely on for fantasy, not Michael Pittman and Isaiah Likely, right?
That's true.
Although I've started them several times
That's
this
true.
year.
But yeah, those 2 guys, they did get hurt, but you should expect them to start this week. They might have a drop in productivity, but you should expect them to be playing.
All right. That's awesome. And is that all of the injuries for the week?
Probably not, because I suck at this, but maybe.
Oh. Okay. In case there are, let me set you up with this.
Injury list.
That was your injury list, brought to you by Pascal and friends.
Wow, we're really fucking this up, huh? Have we done this before?
I think we took a week off and it's just getting really fuzzy.
Apparently.
Okay. All right, guys, now it's time for the Put It in the Air matchup results.
See, I call it the PETA rundown.
The PETA rundown
Yeah.
is much more smooth. The
Right?
PETA rundown.
Yeah. But that also sounds like
Yeah.
a brunch option,
Yeah.
right?
It sounds like a
It's
Mediterranean.
like when you go to like a bad Greek restaurant and then afterwards when you get home, it's the PETA rundown your leg.
I actually think of it in a more positive light, like a really saucy pita, like a bunch of tahini melting off the side with that dill sauce.
Oh, it's what runs down your hand as you're eating that
Yes. When you
falafel.
bite it and it just starts
Yum.
sliding out, a
Sounds
little
way
extra
better than mine.
hummus and maybe some chicken
Mine was
chunks.
kind of nasty and probably should be cut from the episode if we did any editing.
Yeah,
But we don't.
We don't.
So y'all
Sorry,
have
guys.
to listen to
We
it.
do pre-editing, not post.
All right. So this week
To start it off,
we're starting with Catch This Fade versus East Coast Virus.
we already talked about this one. You could just move along. It's fine.
No. Catch This Fade did not have his best week and could have been had if he had played a better quality opponent. Luckily for him, he was matched up against East Coast Virus, who continues to leave winning points on the bench. CTF was led by strong games from James Cook with 15 points, 13 points from Jameer Gibbs, 20 for George Pickens, 15 for TJ Hawkinson, and 25 for Chuba Hubbard to take down East Coast Virus 131-113. Meanwhile, the football gods punish Brendan for wishing injury on Chuba Hubbard as he gets single digits from everyone except Amon-Ra, who put up 18, Calvin Ridley, who put up 25, Jason Sanders, who put up 15, and the Vikings D, who put it in his bum. Who put up 13. If he hadn't been smart enough to start Kyler Murray, who put up 28, 20 more points than starter Tua turned the ball over, he would have won 133-131. Instead, he made the wrong choice once again. Marv is a lock for the playoffs at this point, whereas Brendan is one game closer to the loser's bracket, and he'll need some strong showings over the next 4 weeks to hold on to his spot.
Next matchup is Punks and Drublick versus the Auto Draftees. Yay! In this battle for who could miss the playoffs better, we saw two teams break 100.
Don't make me spit my drink on my stuff, man. Come on.
We saw two teams break 100. All right, it was a bad week for fantasy production, so it is actually a win in itself for these teams to break a 100-point threshold. This matchup started off Sunday in the United States, where Punks dunked 84.5 against the Draftees' 80.5, with great performances by Jalen Hurts, who finished just shy of 40 points, and a pair of Tampa Bay running backs who combined for 36.7 points. Hey, it worked. Finally. He was held back by dismal performances by Hunter Henry, Devontae Smith, and the 49ers defense with a combined score of 8.8. CD did not do him any favors, however, as he finished with 8.4 fantasy points.
That's twice as much as those other guys.
The Auto Draftees had mediocre performances from his whole team, highlighted by shortcomings of his Chicago receiving duo Moore and Adunze, who combined for 11. His kicker finished with 11 after missing 3 field goals in his return to play, which looks as if it would have made the difference for Frank. Instead, Frank's opportunity came and left on Sunday night, where Punk's kicker Fairbairn outperformed the Draftees' Tank Dell 13 to 8.3. He was still alive, however, come Monday Night Football, where Pascal put up Waddle and Achane against Frank's Tyreek in the Rams' defense. The projections were in Punk's favor, but a total of 18.8 among both of his Dolphins watched that slip. The Rams' defense put up only 7, and Tyreek did his best Waddle impersonation and finished with 11.7. The Auto Draftees comes up just short as Punks and Drublick wins this one 115-3-8 to 107-4-6. Punks jumps the Auto Draftees in the rankings, moving to 9th, and the Auto Draftees continues his free fall to 11th. Punks goes to 10th, The auto draftees falls to 11th. Both teams now stand at 3-7.
I'll be honest, I was really pissed when Tyreek got his touchdown, but then I realized, oh right, it's going against the Rams defense that he's playing, so that 6 points is really only worth like 3.
No, actually, it's worth. It was only worth 1.1 because that 6 points is taken. Oh, it wasn't the first points of the game. If it's the first touchdown of the game, your defense loses 6.
Yeah.
So when your player scores that against your defense, you only get the catch in the yards.
know.
It's so frustrating.
I know. Yeah. All right. So next we have Captain Cannabis versus Great.
Oh, great.
This matchup, I should just have you say it. Like, you do it so much better.
Great.
This matchup was over by Friday morning as rostered the super stack with Joe Burrow putting up 34 and Jamar Chase going nuts with 55 points. Another 7 from Mike Gesicki meant Colin started out Sunday's games up by 96-4.
Ah, damn.
It turns out he only needed another 22 points as he solidifies the top score of the week, destroying Captain Cannabis 155-117, a feeling Sean has become accustomed to this season. Colin was lucky, however, as he only had 2 other players in double digits, with 14 from Josh Downs and 17 from Joe Mixon. Meanwhile, Sean couldn't do much to win, but had solid days from Cooper Kupp with 15, Puka Nacua with 19, Josh Allen with 18, and his top scorer of the week being the Jets D with 20. All is not lost for either team, as an undefeated end to the season could still land either in the playoffs, though Sean will still need some help along with winning all his games.
I actually think you got that wrong. I want to just open that up real quick. The Jets D could not have scored 20 points because they lost 34-6. So I think you were looking at last week.
Was I?
Yeah, you might have been looking at the wrong week.
I mess that up?
Let's confirm that.
Yeah. I thought I got it right.
I'll do the next rundown and you let us know after. Sorry to call you out. but-
No, I mean, correct my incorrectness.
All right, the next matchup is Boston Bulldogs versus Salute Your Short Fellows. The Bulldogs showed out with their newly acquired tight end on Thursday night.
See, yeah. I
Oh,
was looking at the helmets, and then so Colin had the Jets who scored 0 points, and Sean had the Eagles who scored 20, and I was just like looking at the helmets, and I'm like, oh look, the Jets, they put up 20.
He's seeing green, everyone. He's
Sorry,
seeing green.
I was wrong.
Good job, guys. All right, so the Bulldogs showed out with their newly acquired tight end on Thursday night as Mark Andrews gave him an early lead with 18.8. Come Sunday, both teams traded blows in this one and in the 1 and 4 o'clock matchups, as Longfellow had the 2 highest scoring players with James Conner at 22.3 and the Buffalo defense finishing with 19. He also deployed a 3 tight end roster, which had mixed results, led by Kittle's 14.7, followed by K. Dotton's 8.5 and Taysom Hill's 7. Shortfellow's 2 worst performances, by the way. As you move further down the shorter end of the stick, we see the 3 worst performing players in this matchup on Frank's team on Jay's team with DeAndre Swift putting up only 7.5, the Cowboys kicker putting up only 6, and the nail in the coffin, the Falcons defense putting up 1 point against New Orleans, who got their first win in 2 months. Come Sunday night, Longfellow was hoping to not be too deep in the hole as he had CJ Stroud against Jay's lineup, who had already played a full week. Fortunately for Mike, he already had a little over a 10-point lead and didn't need CJ Stroud's night, where he put up 9.78. Overall, Salute Your Short Fellows takes the victory.
I love how you spelled ugh.
Yeah. You could thank the Clips for that. They had a song called "Yeah."
Okay, nice.
to let us know actually how to spell it. Final score: Salute Your Short Fellows 141-38, Boston Bulldogs 121-04, and Boston Bulldogs falls from 7th to 8th as Longfellow's Short Fellows stays in 4th at 7-3.
Next, we have I Fucks Your Mom versus G-Men's Crusaders. In this week's stinker, I Fucks Your Mom only has one player score above 13 points as Travis Kelce continues his outstanding 3-game stretch by putting up 20 plus for the third straight game. Unfortunately for iFucks, all he got aside from that was 11 from Najee Harris and 13 from Deebo Samuel, as the rest of his players scored under 10. While injuries and byes had their place, none of the guys who were out are world beaters, so no excuses when you lose 95 to 107. Meanwhile, G-Men's Crusaders had a bad week, but played the only opponent he could have beaten this week. Jared Goff's 5-interception game came in the perfect week for him, but solid games from Derrick Henry with 14, Chase Brown with 22, and Jawan Jennings and Sam Laporta with 16 each was just enough to get the win. Aggie is well positioned to make the playoffs, but he'll need his guys to get back to brass tacks to maintain his position, while Baba needs to keep stacking wins to stay in contention.
The final match of the week. Steal Your Face Mask versus the Milfuckers. Steal Your Face Mask takes the reins Thursday night with an outstanding performance by Lamar Jackson with 32.9 and a great fantasy game for almost every other player involved. Well, except Justin Tucker, who the Milfuckers squeezed only 3 points out of. Both teams performed well come Sunday as Scott regained some ground on Billy with Brock Purdy's 23 and change, Montgomery and Bijan combining for 43 points, and his pass catchers putting up over 40 points. Billy came through with less powerful performances from his starting running backs, wide receivers, and tight end, but made up for it in the flex with Kareem Hunt and Cortland Sutton putting up 38 combined to Scott's flexes of Dowdle and Ertz, who only just eclipsed 15 together. It all came down to Monday night, where Steal Your Face Mask needed just over 7.5 points out of Kyron Williams and Jonnu Smith. Come halftime, they weren't even there yet. However, in the end, Steal Your Face Mask takes the W 144.3 to 133.12. Scott falls to 8-2 and stays in second place as Billy creeps up behind him at 7-3 and remains in third. And by the way, East Coast Virus does lose, but gains 1 position, goes from 8th to 7th. We forgot to mention that.
You gotta love that.
Good week, guys. Actually, shitty week all around.
Yeah,
if you won,
very
you
bad.
got lucky. Not you, Marv. Well, actually, we all got lucky.
Yeah,
Except for the guys who lost.
yeah.
I don't know what I'm saying.
I mean, hold on. What?
Good
Col-
way to confuse you.
Yeah, everyone got lucky, didn't they?
Yeah.
Except for the losers.
Everyone got lucky. Even the losers, some of them might have gotten lucky. You know, you don't know what,
Well,
what they're
'cause,
doing in their
right,
personal
you?
life.
You mean you?
Yeah. I got lucky in another league and in
Oh,
life.
well, no, you got lucky that you lost, but still went up in the ranking.
Oh, yeah. That's pretty lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, that it's not really boding well for the rest of the season. Although
Yeah.
there are
I mean,
a lot of really
now
good matchups
Colin
coming
and
up.
I are 1 game behind you and Jay.
Disconnected. Bluetooth connected.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you, miss.
Thank you
Appreciate
for
that.
telling us about our Bluetooth connection.
I was watching something about voiceover actors and that lady whose voice we hear all throughout our lives.
Yeah.
They don't make like any money off of that.
By the way, that wasn't that was me. I just did that. Bluetooth disconnected. Bluetooth
wow.
reconnected.
Wow, maybe we should get you on the phone.
I make little money too, so right there. All right, guys, moving along. All right, guys, moving along.
I'm like, hello.
Superlative rundown.
Yeah, this is why we can't miss a week.
My phone is so slow. I don't know what's going on here.
I told you what it is. You need to turn it off and then turn it back
I
on
have
again.
too much to do. Even when I'm sleeping, I need to make sure I get all my notifications.
My bad. My bad.
All right, guys, superlative rundown this week. We're going to tell you all about the top performing players of the week. And at quarterback, we have Joe Burrow's Thursday night performance with 33.72. Bijan Robinson comes through as the top running back with 29.4.
That's probably his first top score of the year, isn't it?
I believe it is. Yeah, I think it is. He may have been there maybe last year once, but no, not this year. Jamar Chase with the stack with Joe Burrow. There you go, Colin. 55.4. It may not be surpassed this season. It'll be excellent to see it get surpassed by anyone in the future because that's an insane score. Travis Kelce takes the cake with 20.4 as the highest tight end of the
Yeah,
week.
Joe Burrow had 33.72.
33.72. I put 32, but I said 33. I just wrote it wrong, and you just called me out for writing it wrong, but I said 33.
Oh, you didn't? I wasn't listening.
So Joshua Carty, the Rams kicker, beats out the Dolphins kicker who put up 15. Joshua Carty with 19
Did
last
anyone
night.
start him?
Hot damn. I don't think so.
Let's see.
I don't believe so. He might not even be rostered, dude.
Where you at, Cardi B?
And then the top scoring defense of the week is the Jets with 20. Oh, wait. No, I'm sorry. It's the Eagles with 20, the other green team. And Pascal, why don't you tell us about the put it in the air?
Oh, was I supposed to do that?
superlatives?
I did.
You
Yay.
did, yes.
All right. So, let me pull it up. Damn. So, our largest margin of victory goes to
Great.
over Captain Cannabis, 154.82 to 117 flat for a 37.82 point win.
You really should have put the margin of victory between his Bengals and the rest of his team, and it probably would have been larger than the rest of the league's win. Sorry. Just wanted to hit that
Yeah,
one.
not quite. He was still
Nice
under by
strikeout.
22 points. But next, we have the closest matchup was me, Punxsutawney Drublick, over the Auto Draftees, 115.38 to 107.46 for a 7.92 point win.
Squeaking by.
Then we have Give Them Their Flowers and $25. You know, I wish I did get flowers with my wins. So that's Colin McCree with a
great.
measly 154.82, which might be the lowest
Billy
top score
had
of the
a
week.
very similar top score of the week
Yeah.
a few weeks back. I think
Okay.
it was about 154, 155. We'll have
I
to
feel
check
like
that.
I could like look this up before we get on air, right?
Maybe they should donate the lowest top scorer's money back to the prize
to
pot
the
for the
lowest
winner.
score?
No, to the prize
Oh,
pot for
give
the
it
winner.
to the lowest score of the year.
All right, Sean, whoever has the lowest high score gives you $25.
No, the lowest score. Who got the 79?
Oh, somebody got a 79 this week?
No, this year.
Oh,
So whoever has the lowest top
got-
score of the
who got
year
the lowest
gives
score?
it to the lowest low score
was it
of the year.
Longfellow?
I don't know.
Or was it...
I
We gotta look at
yeah,
that.
I would like that though.
We'll do
I
that
think
towards
would
the end
be-
of the season.
That would be a funky one, and that would give you an excuse for taking 2 months to pay people. All right. So next
Month
we
and a
have we have the wet fart of the week. Damn, Brendan. If you need to go to the bathroom, tell me before we get on air.
I practiced that. That was with my mouth. It smells
All right,
much
so
less bad.
Anyway, we have Aggie unable to score in the triple digits, putting up a pathetic 94.98.
How is this dude in the playoff hunt? Like, how is this? Like,
He got
We
lucky.
are just so bad that he's up. Like, what is
I
happening?
mean, so
I lost to him.
this is one of the reasons that in one of our later episodes this year, I'm going to be talking about the league median scoring system. I don't know what it's exactly called, but
Yeah, it's-
basically you get two. You get like
You can
two
get
scores,
two
of
wins
the
or
week,
losses
right? You
each-
get one
each week.
score for the head to head, right? A win or a loss. And then you get one for whether you were in the top half of the scores for the week or in the bottom half. So you can. So
Are you trying
for
to kill
instance,
yours
like,
and my chances of ever making the playoffs again? Because we win with low scores.
see, I'm not you. All right, this is a bad season for me, but you are always starting the wrong squad.
I have a good
so,
good season.
But
a
like
good squad, bad
for
season.
instance, like Baba, he was the second lowest score this week, but he got a win, so he'd get one win and one
one
loss on the week. So yeah, but we'll talk about that another time.
That's a good point. I just want to. That's a good point. I think Babalu has had a really good season though, being 5-5 and
Yeah.
in sixth place.
He beat me.
Yeah, he beat me too. And the fact
No,
that
I keep saying that. That's a lie. He lost horribly to me.
Oh, really?
He lost 200 to 100.
oh yeah, that was.
I keep saying that. Like I
It's,
don't,
it's funny because
I just like think of Baba as beating me, so it's like it just like is in my brain that way.
prior to this week, Baba, Jay, and I were all 4-5, and Baba was in 6th, Jay in 7th, and I was in 8th. The fact that Baba won and Jay and I both lost that's why I moved up in rankings, because I beat Jay and we're the only 2 4 and 6 teams.
Nice.
And I actually beat you and Colin and Sean. So if any of you guys have the same record as me at the end of the season, I have the advantage.
Yeah.
Frank is this week. If I beat him, then all I need to do is have.
See, that would be perfect
A good
if we
enough
lose to
record.
Frank, because I beat Frank.
Yeah, then
right?
it would
you
cycle
beat
in.
me.
Yeah.
Colin beat me. I don't remember if I beat Jay or not. Have we played yet? I don't remember.
I think, well, we'll look into it.
Yeah.
But we're going to have a lot more really, really strong playoff related talks in the next coming weeks, because things are really going to start to pan out and map out. And hopefully there's some upsets so we can really get in the nitty gritty. So, yeah, is that it? Is that we finished it off, the wet fart of the week?
That's it, my
it was
friends.
wet.
It really was.
Straight out.
All right, everyone. Moving along to
Yeah, Jay beat me too. All y'all motherfuckers beat me.
damn. You know, we're actually not even at the 3 and out. We're actually at the keeper alert. I don't know what is going on with our sound guy today. Dude, you're
Bro,
fired.
yeah, you're fired. Get
Yeah.
get out of my apartment.
What is going on? All right, moving on to the keeper alert.
Energy.
You know, for the well-being of everyone who listens to this, I'm going to say that from now on, we have to put it in the air before we get on air, because we're sober as a whistle. And
Are you kidding me? I'm hopped up on a Rain White Gummy Bear energy drink.
ooh, are we trying to get sponsors? Yeah, and
Rain. Total body fuel.
I'm fucking up our podcast thanks to Yerba Mate. Thank you, Yerba Mate.
Thank you, guys. Coming to you from Harlem. All right, guys, the keeper alert this week. We still have some lingering injuries. Isaiah Pacheco and Nico Collins that were mentioned earlier should be coming back soon, but still have not come back since week 2 and week 5, respectively. Brandon Ayuk, we're not going to see him till next year, so he will
And
stay on this list.
Probably not till like the middle of season next year,
So
too.
the keeper value has dwindled. This week, we had injuries to Dalton Kincaid and Sam Laporta, the 2 keepers who may not have any long-lasting injury effects, but keep an eye on those 2 guys.
Or keep 2 eyes on them if you got both.
Keep 2 eyes on their knees and toes. Nobody was on bye this week in our keeper pool. And
the next part is so funny.
the traded keepers, Dalton Kincaid and Mark Andrews.
hold on. What happened to the bench keeper?
Oh, yeah. No. Bench keeper was Kyler Murray. Sorry, I forgot about that. Bench keeper was Kyler Murray. And last but not least, the keeper of the week was Kyler Murray with 28.74. Damn you guys.
Now, I know that you guys can't see my fingers, but I was that close to benching Rachaad White. And I was like, you know what? I keep making this mistake week in and week out, thinking that I should only play one or the other. And I played both of them, and it did me well.
Yeah, you earlier in the season, there's no way I'd play both of them.
Yeah. Yeah, well, things change, don't
Pascal, why don't you brighten this room up and tell us about the winners?
they? I got you, my friend. All right, we're starting out with yours truly, Punks in Drublick.
Winner, chicken dinner.
Devon A-Chain putting up 10.2 points compared with 18. Woof. But Rachaad White putting up 19 points compared to the 10.4 projected for a total of 0.8 over expected.
You got over?
I did, barely. Next, we have Salute Your Short Fellow.
You, sir, are a winner.
CJ Stroud disappointed with 9.8 points compared to the 16.5 expected.
Ugh.
And George Kittle did what was expected, putting up 14.7 compared to 15.2.
And getting injured.
That is for a total of negative 7.2 under expectation.
Yikes. And, we missed Kittle's injury, too. Kittle got injured.
Did he?
Yeah, continuously. He's going to be
Jesus.
questionable for the rest of the
I
year.
really suck at this.
Yeah.
All right, so we have Catch This Fade.
You, sir, win. God damn it.
We've got James Cook putting up 15.5 compared to the 13.4 expected. And luckily for him, he did not put in Nico Collins for Chuba Hubbard because he put up 0 points compared to the 0 expected. That is for 2.1 over expectation.
Oh, geez, you're so good, man.
Next, we have Steal Your Face Mask.
You, sir, are
you're a winner.
Jonathan Taylor put up 14.2 compared to 16.7 expected, and I wonder if this is a typo, but Kyron Williams put up 11.2 compared to his also 16.7 expected for 8 points under expectation.
Woofies.
Then we've got G-Men's Crusaders.
You get the W.
He's got Raheem Mostert putting up 5.4 compared to 9.7 expected.
Woof.
And Sam Laporta putting up 15.6 compared to 9 expected for 2.3 over expectation.
In the green.
Then we've got
Great, I won.
with Brandon Ayuk on IR and Isaiah Pacheco on IR.
Ear. Collins keepers continue rocking the bed. All right, now we're gonna move on to the loser.
Ya loser.
First off, we have yours truly, East Coast Virus.
Ya loser.
Thanks for reminding me. Who didn't play Kyler Murray, although he put up 28.74, which is 11.5 points over his expectation, and traded away Mark Andrews, who put up 18.8, which is 9 points over his expectation.
Probably could use
He
that.
really could have put 20.5 points over his expectation, but did not. And
He's a
lost.
loser.
Yes, we already know that. Captain Cannabis,
Ya loser.
with his soul keeper Puka Nakua putting up 18.8, which is 2 points over expected. Sean's finally in the green.
Hey, congrats.
Next, we have Boston Bulldogs.
Well, hold on, what?
Boston Bulldogs.
Hold on. Okay.
Boston Bulldogs.
Ya loser.
The name change has expired, and he has lost.
F that. It should have been for the rest of the season. That would have been great.
So Boston Bulldogs puts in Brees Hall, who puts up 12.4, which is 4 points under his expectation, and traded away Dalton Kincaid, who got banged up after 4.4 points, 7 points under his expectation, for his original guys having under 11 points under expectation, but he made some moves to make that not matter so much, even though he still lost.
Yes, smart man, but a loser.
Loser. Next, we have the Auto Draftees.
Ya loser.
Free falling into the abysmal depths of the out of the playoffs bracket, with Alvin Kamara scoring 15.9, 4.5 under expected, and DJ Moore scoring 5.7, 6.5 under expected, leaving him 11 points under expectation. And next, we bring up the Milfuckers.
Ya loser.
It lost with Brock Purdy putting up 23.82, which is 6 points over expectation, and Drake London putting up 17.7, which is 2 points over expectation. So he was in the green by 8. How'd he lose? He played Billy.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Next, we have the worst team name ever to grace our presence. I fucks your mom.
Ya loser. Oh, you came in on that
I'm
one.
in
Heard
on
you,
it,
bro.
man.
Heard
Oh, you better come to my doghouse today. Who put up Debo Samuel, who put up 12.6, a point and a half under expectation, and Zay Flowers, who put up 7.4, 7 points under expectation to finish the day, 8.5 in the red under expectation.
It's funny how you so appropriately called it your doghouse. And I'm giving you a preview this week of what's going on in my doghouse. But I'm not there, so...
Great. Do I get to hang out with Aggie?
Yes.
Well, somebody's going to join us. In that case, we'll get there.
All
right.
You adjusting yours mid-show?
No, it's already there.
Yeah, okay,
Let's move on to the segment that we already played out of place. 3 and out.
Yo.
Who's out? Who are you out on? Well, let's talk about trade away candidates to start the show off. Who do you got?
So my first person is Cooper Kupp.
A cup of coffee.
So it's not that he's not good. It's not that I don't think he's going to put up points, but I don't think Sean's going to make the playoffs. So I think that he should try to trade him to a playoff contender for a keeper pick.
Yes, that's a great idea. Sean, I know you're listening. Please
Of course.
move along and start offering trades. The trade deadline's coming up. It's in a week.
You know, we should make a t-shirt for Sean since he is our
Number one listener?
number one fan. Yeah.
Shit. My first trade away is Jamar Chase, following a 55.4 super performance. Obviously, you can get anything for him. So if you want to bolster your team and really make that playoff push, you might want to think about potentially offering Jamar for a package of everything.
Like two starters.
A running back and wide receiver that are powerful. It's not that Jamar Chase won't help you along, but it looks like after this week, the rest of your team is going to need some pick-me-ups. So it might be a good idea to trade him now. I mean, anybody after a 55-point performance. Not like a few years ago where Longfellow traded Billy Joe Mixon, who the following week put up a 55-point performance. So, yeah.
And not like last year when I traded Jamar Chase and James Cook for Rashad White, and I don't even remember who the other guy was.
Yeah, well, you guys get to keep what you give away.
Yeah, James Cook would have looked nice on my team this year.
Yeah. Mark Andrews would look pretty good on my team this week.
Maybe this is why people don't make trades. Or maybe they should only make trades with us.
I got burned on this trade.
Yeah, I probably should have pressed accept when Billy tried to trade Garrett Wilson and Cortland Sutton for CeeDee Lamb and what's that dude's name? The running back from the Colts, who I don't even remember his friggin' name now. That would have been nice.
Running back B?
Yeah, whatever his name is.
Who else you got for trade away?
So I have Zach Charbonnet. Really, the only person you should be able to trade him to is Brendan. But he's a worthwhile handcuff. And Brendan is in the playoffs. He's trying to stay in contention for the playoffs. And if Ken Walker gets hurt again, that's really going to take a hit for his playoff contention. So see if you could trade him for, a lower level starter, but someone that you could use on your team.
Yeah. And I'm trying to position myself to play Scott first week of the playoffs.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah.
Scott's team actually is...
I'd rather play Scott than Marv or Billy.
Great,
that's why
towards the end of the season, but
he has a good team, but his depth piece is the thing he's lacking in.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, he's winning, so kudos to you, Scott.
Yeah,
your team is awesome this year.
Way better than we are.
My final trade away candidate would be none other than Taylor Swift. I mean, the other part of the relationship, Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce is finally starting to perform as that top tier tight end that he's always been, minus last year. He is finally starting to put together great performances, even though Patrick Mahomes is still staying kind of under the bar, like kinda 15, stinky. 16 points a game.
Yeah, Travis's last 5 out of 6 games have been really good.
Yeah.
Like 20 plus points in the last 3.
And it was good.
15 plus, I think, in the last in 5 of the last 6.
It was good to see him and Mark Andrews on like the top of the tight end totem pole this week. It was like, all right, things are finally starting to look normal again. Right. So that was cool. What about trade for? Who would you trade for?
So I would be looking to trade for T. Higgins if you're a playoff contender. He's been hurt basically all season, so you're not really expecting for much, but he'll probably be back during the playoff run. But Scott could very well be fed up with him because he's just sitting on his bench this whole time. And so if he's looking for a lower tier starter to replace him with, maybe 2 players like a spot starter and a good bench player, you might be able to pry him away from him. So you might want to look to T. Higgins.
My trade for first candidate goes to someone that everybody would love to have on their team, Mr. Saquon Barkley. The guy is just picking up the pace. He's a freight train, moving, doing better as it gets colder. He's doing his thing.
Except for this week. He didn't really have a good week.
He didn't need to.
He had like 9 points, I think.
Even though, I mean, if the Eagles are dominating, they really should be running a lot.
The one thing that goes against his favor is that they're not giving him any goal line carries, which is great for me. Jalen Hurts is putting up huge numbers because
if they're
of
on
that.
the 1.5 or shorter.
No, really, like anything goal line, anything inside like the 15, and they're giving other guys a chance. And Jalen Hurts is getting a lot
Saquon's
of
goal
that,
line is his own 30, so that's why you should trade for him.
It's really like his own 30. That's accurate. There you go. Yeah. Well put. So my other trade for is Kareem Hunt.
Nice.
And this is really just for Colin. But Isaiah Pacheco should be back in the next week or 2, so Billy might be willing to trade him away. He's already gotten all the production out of him that he probably needs.
And if you want to do it now, because I don't think we'll see Pacheco this week.
Right.
So you could use him this week.
You need him, right. You
need
him
to
like
win
this next couple of weeks. But Colin, right, you need these points, and he's a good handcuff for you to have in case Pacheco goes down again with injury. And you could use these points to get more wins. So that might be a good place for you to look.
Cool. My other trade for candidate would be Chase Brown. This dude is just emerging. I mean, he's putting up 22 plus fantasy points like every week.
Yeah.
They did just trade for Khalil Herbert to replace.
He like fumbled his first touch.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that was his fault, but yeah, he didn't really get much play. He was only like 4 days old on that team, so as the season goes, he's going to start playing that role of what's his name, Zach Moss.
Yeah, Zach Moss,
who's out for the year.
Yeah.
All right, and who is your straight drop?
I actually have a lot of them this week.
Want to run them back and forth? I got a few too.
All right. So my first one is Jamal Williams. I think we've mentioned this name before.
He's been there.
But even when he's healthy, he doesn't score any points, so I don't think he's worth anything.
Cool. My first is Xavier Worthy, unless he has keeper value.
Yeah,
but does
he doesn't. No,
so,
he doesn't.
Go ahead.
So I've got Harrison Butker or Jake Moody. There's just no need to have two kickers, Frank. And when both of their buys have already happened, you can drop one.
Isn't it Mike? Oh, it's Frank. Yeah, it is
Frank.
Frank. Oh, damn, Frank. All right, my next straight
Maybe that's
drop.
why you keep losing.
My next straight drop is Deontay Johnson. There's too much going on in the Ravens offensive room. They don't need
I feel
him.
like he's worth keeping just in case.
Would drop him for somebody who's actually showing something.
I would say that within the first 3 weeks of a trade, it's worth keeping a guy just because they might be getting acclimated to the playbook. But I hear
understandable. But what is he going to do? Take the Rashad Bateman role? I mean, they already have Zay Flowers. They have
I hear you.
Mark Andrews, Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson.
And
like, these
from
guys
what
are
I've
all
heard,
getting the ball.
from what I've heard is that like they're looking at him more as just a replacement if one of those guys
one
goes
gets
down.
hurt,
So
yeah.
you might be right.
Yeah, for fantasy, it's probably not going to work before maybe during the
next
playoffs.
year.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
next year.
All right, so I've got the Falcons defense because why do you still have them on your team, Jay? They suck, and the Packers
Part
just
of the
had
reason
their
you
bye.
lost.
So drop them. They suck.
Wrap them.
Yeah.
Why don't you keep going? You've got all defenses.
Yes, they're all defenses. So Falcons defense for Jay, the Saints defense for Baba. Because the Lions had their bye already, and the Saints haven't had a double-digit game since week 3. So just drop them.
Yeah.
Like even if you have an empty slot, just drop them. They suck.
Let me spell something for you. EGHCK. Yeah.
Then we've got the Steelers or the Eagles defense. Like I get it, they're both good defenses, but they've both already had their bye week. And even though they're both top 10 defenses, it doesn't make sense to hold on to both. So Sean, just drop one.
And screw Pennsylvania, right?
Anyways, they're good though. And then we've got the Giants defense, like Velas. Like I know you're way better at this than I am. It's obvious, but like I also know that the Broncos have a Week 14 bye, but the Giants defense is not good, and the Saints aren't the cakewalk they were before Carr came back. So just drop them and then stream whoever's available that week. It's not going to matter. You're making the playoffs. You're good.
The Giants defense isn't good. They lead the league in sacks.
Yes, but they suck at scoring points.
I guess because sacks are only 1 point.
Yeah.
All right, and my final straight drop would be this guy must be starving. Mr. Ezekiel Elliott himself. He's having trouble with the team.
I forgot. I'm going to add one more in that vein.
Yeah, he's got a lot of issues going right now. I think there's some turmoil going on, obviously outside of the Jerry Jones, CeeDee Lamb situation. Which, if you caught my quip on the pun down, they might as well just tear it down instead of adding curtains. Just tear the whole stadium down.
In that vein, someone still has Dalvin Cook on their roster. Like, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
Like, that's even worse than Jamal Williams.
Yeah. So drop all those guys, minus maybe Deontay Johnson. Maybe you could trade him to Babalu or something.
Maybe the Steelers defense, but like... Come on,
man. Hey, I've got something to add here. I've got a straight drop question for you.
Yeah.
Who would you straight drop out of Jalen Tolbert of the Cowboys or Nick Westbrook-Akine of the Titans?
I would say probably Tolbert.
No need to go into depth. They both are on sinking ships and don't get a lot of work.
Yeah, but they're the number... Well, Tolbert's the number 2, isn't he? Like, technically? And and Westbrook Akine has had a good game. I don't know. Neither one is going to win you anything. I don't know if they're worth dropping, honestly.
I'd drop them both. All right, moving along. We've got the trading block, which, we've had one finalized trade. We've already beat it to death. Jay won this week. Once again, he's with 26 points against Dalton Kincaid's 4.4 before he was out. Chris Olave on IR. Sayonara to that trade. Jay, you won it. Good job. But if I can get Olave back for the playoffs, there's a chance that this actually might bode well for me.
So you're saying there's a chance?
There is a chance, but it has gotten so much more minuscule than when I first hit accept and got so excited.
I tried to make 2 trades this week. One with Billy, which I wasn't really surprised that he said no to. I don't even really remember who it was for. But I tried to make a trade with...
I tried to make a trade. I'm not really sure what it was, but it didn't happen.
I'm looking for a running back. And I tried to make a trade with Frank.
Oh,
I think it was...
You wrote to Billy and Frank, hey, I send you trade offers, and Billy's like, I'm good.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you for responding. Frank was just like, cancel. But I'm pretty sure I tried to trade Josh Jacobs and who was the other person? Was it Rome Odunze for Devontae Smith and Rashad White?
Oh, it's a pretty interesting trade.
I thought it was a pretty even trade. Rashad White is not as good as Josh Jacobs, but he's still putting up good numbers. Devontae Smith
has more potential than Rome Odunze.
No. Devontae Smith is a good player. Rome Odunze sucks, as far as fantasy goes.
Yeah.
And so I thought that it would be a good trade. Frank didn't want it for whatever reason. I figured, whatever. So he said no to that, but yeah, I tried.
I have to say, after dropping Michael Pittman and picking him back up, even though I guarantee I won't play him for the rest of the year, Longfellow, this is a direct message to you.
Every week.
I am willing to trade.
Every week, Brendan's like, yeah, I think I could trade Pittman to Longfellow because he likes the Colts.
But here's the deal. Here's the actual deal. Mike, you have a good team. If you decide that you might want to have Michael Pittman on your roster next year for a 10th round pick, I dropped him and added him, so that could actually happen. So his value actually went up for sitting out this week. And that's really it. Everyone else on my team is available for the right people, as always. So yeah, I guess we're done with the trading block. It's pretty dismal.
Maybe you could trade Austin Siebert for Michael Pittman. That's fair value, even though Siebert's probably still better.
What running backs does he have? What are his worst running backs?
No one. He's got Jonathan Brooks, Jordan Mason. Let's see.
Yeah, there's no way.
McCaffrey and James Conner. There's no way.
I'll Jonathan Brooks for Michael Pittman.
His whole team is better than Michael Pittman. There's really no one to trade for.
All right, Mike. How about Michael Pittman for human goods? Like a little money or
well, how
food.
about this? Catch this fade dropped the New York Giants.
Just now? Oh, that's perfect.
About 10 minutes ago. So I know you haven't listened to this episode, but well done. Well done.
How fresh of you. Speaking of fresh, it's time to move on to freshman football. So, Pascal, tell us about these rookies.
All right. So this week, Marvin Harrison Jr. put up 16.4. Malik Neighbors put up 10.8. Xavier Worthy put up 2.1. Keon Coleman was hurt and put up nothing. Rome Odunze put up 5.3. Lad McConkey put up 7.2. Jaden Daniels put up 8.58. Trey Benson put up 10.7. Blake Corum put up 2.5. Brian Thomas Jr. put up 3.2. Caleb Williams put up 6.3. Brock Bowers, the number one tight end in the land, put up a bye. Ricky Pearsall put up 17.3.
Solid.
Jordan Whittington put up nothing. Drake May put up 11.76. Bo Nix put up 16.1. Spencer Rattler, nothing. Xavier Legette, 7. Ray Davis, 0.6. Bucky Irving, 17.7. And Tyrone Tracy put up 15.4.
Nice.
Our top 3 rookie scorers of the week were Bucky Irving, number 1. Ricky Pearsall, Bucky Irvin number 1 with 17.7. Ricky Pearsall number 2 with 17.3. Marvin Harrison Jr. number 3 with 16.4.
A lot of terrible performances, man.
This is the second week of the year, the first week since week 2 that the top 3 scorers did not include a quarterback.
Nice. Damn, yeah. That means that all the rookie quarterbacks underperformed this week.
Yes, they did. The
We're
closest one was Bo Nix with 16.1. He was 0.3 away from being in the top 3.
That's a reasonable performance outside of the
it's
rest
still
of
bad for a quarterback, though. Not what you're looking for.
And we're going to go ahead and shine the spotlight on Blake Nolan Corum, a 5'10", 210-pound bruising back from Marshall, Virginia. He attended St. Francis Academy in Baltimore and went to Michigan from 2020 to 2023. He was a running back and kick returner, kind of like Colin, except Colin wasn't a running back. He was the national champion in 2023. He was the national champion game MVP, the national championship MVP, even though they didn't win in 2024. Two-time Big Ten running back of the year, 2023 and 2022. Two-time first team All Big Ten, same years. Big Ten MVP in 2022. And the first team All-American 2023. The Rams drafted him in the 3rd round, 83rd overall, and Punxsutawney Drublick drafted him in the 9th round, 99th overall in our league.
What a dummy.
Dropped him pretty soon after.
It lasted like good 6 weeks.
Yeah, well, that's funny because he's played 6 games in the NFL with 23 rushing attempts for 80 yards, a yards per carry of 3.5 yards, no touchdowns, and 3 catches for 24 yards. We're going to need to see a little bit more to make talking about him more exciting. It was so tiring writing all this down about him, by the way. Do something. All right, guys, we're going to move along to our next segment.
Oh, that was it?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Nice.
So our next segment is Market Watch. So, why don't you give me a player and tell me what's up?
All right, so Trey Lance, his stock is down.
Really?
Yes, because how bad
How?
do you have to be
From
to
zero?
be unable to beat out Cooper Rush? Like, he was the 3rd overall pick.
Did he finish the game with negative points, or did he not even see the field?
I think he threw a pick. Like, Cooper Rush was bad. They brought Trey Lance in, and Trey Lance was worse.
It's pretty impressive to have your
So-
stock go down from 0.
Well, negative is a number.
My first player to highlight would be T.J. Hawkinson. T.J. Hawkinson finally back from a brutal injury last season, and his stock off the bat going up, a target monster. He picked up right where he left off, and that's why he's on a rocket ship going to the moon.
So, do you know who Tabor Pepper is? Real
Is
question.
he like the ball boy for Washington? It's a
Close.
good guess, right?
He is the 49ers long snapper.
Ah.
And he stood up to dickhead Deebo Samuel, who was trying to give the kicker a hard time about missing kicks. Deebo Samuel, the same guy who can't stay healthy for 2 games in a row, was yanking on Jake Moody, who is a rookie, I think, or
no,
second
he's not.
year.
Second year, but he's
Yanking on
second
his yanking on his friggin' face mask because he missed some kicks.
He just came back from IR, bro.
Right.
Like, give him a
Calm
break.
down. Relax. All right. So Tabor Pepper, you get your kudos. Stock is up for you. All your teammates
Respect.
should love you.
Respect.
You deserve your name said, and
he
people
must-
need to know who you are.
He must have been the one applying the WD-40 to this dude's knee to win the game. Because that's what he needed for his rusty leg.
Yeah.
All right. My next player to cover is a whole bunch of players, and they are the Dallas Cowboys offense. I think we could see where this is going. Stock is going down with the ship. Cooper Rush, all these guys. Sorry, CD.
man.
You might be able to prevail and have some reasonable performances because you're pretty much the only thing they got out there. Rico Dowdle, down. Ezekiel Elliott down. Jalen Tolbert
You'd
down.
think Rico Dowdle would like run
Ferguson,
the ball
down.
more. Like, nah.
Run the ball. You if you go 3 and out every time, you can only get so many yards.
I was really hoping Trey Lance would come in and be like some kind of a spark, but that spark just lit a fire and they're burning to the ground.
I'm so happy to see
My
it.
next player is Bryce Young. His stock is up.
Oh, wow. Surprising.
So-
All it took was an Andy Dalton car crash.
Is that what happened? He got
Yeah,
in a
his
car wreck?
family his family and him got into a car accident and he sprained his throwing thumb.
Damn.
That's why Bryce Young's back out there.
Well, lucky him because he hasn't been outstanding, but the Panthers are actually getting wins. And he's the one that's starting for those wins. So that means your stock is up in that scenario.
Put the pieces together.
It should give him one more season to prove he's the guy. So instead of being thought of as a trade candidate for the offseason, maybe he actually gets to stick around another season.
Nice. My next highlight goes to Tyjae Spears. And Tyjae Spears' stock is going up.
Okay.
Believe it or not.
Yeah, I heard
Tony
you.
Pollard briefly left this game with an injury. He did come back for the game-winning drive, or was it overtime? I don't really recall, but he did come back. But Tyjae Spears didn't put up the best fantasy performance. I think he finished with like 8 and change. However, watching this dude run, he was something else. It was like a few weeks back when I realized just by the eyeball test that Najee Harris had something. Tyjae Spears has something.
Yeah, the Titans lost.
So yeah, they lost,
badly.
but either way, they Pollard came back for the last drive where Ridley scored or whatever.
Listen, Tyjae Spears, he put up 7 yards per carry compared to Tony Pollard's 5 yards per carry,
Which is
So,
good,
I mean,
but
they're both good.
because
but
Pollard got banged up, it
7
was
is better than 5.
That's
so.
true, and because Pollard got banged up, that could linger. I don't know exactly what the injury was, what it looks like, but Tyjae's 7 per carry just bodes he
good
needs
money.
work. So
All right, so my last player is Daniel Jones.
Oh, is he good,
Danny
or-
Pennies. Stock is down.
in another country, in Germany, or
Stock is down in every
London?
country.
Every country.
Yes.
Damn it.
In euros, in dollars, in Brazilian reais, like everything.
Isn't it reals?
In America to Americans who
No, Americans call it reals.
yeah, reais.
I thought it was a reals.
Real.
Yeah.
So just
Obrigado.
de nada. So just when Giants fans think that he's a worthy starter, I'm talking about you, Brendan.
He did all right.
No, he played horribly. He played horribly. Another horrible game and loses to arguably the worst team in the league, which makes you wonder who is actually the worst team in the league.
Evan Neal, the offensive line, not Daniel Jones.
Yeah, Daniel Jones plays badly even when Evan Neal is healthy.
No. Evan Neal got reinserted into the offensive line. That's why.
I was really
We're
hoping
hurting.
that they would have traded him to the Patriots so that he could become a good offensive lineman.
It's not looking good.
But yeah, I really liked Dable, but sorry, Danny Dimes is not throwing dimes.
Listen, guys, as an avid Giants fan, I maybe 20 minutes ago got an update that Daniel Jones' job is not secure and he may actually be benched this week. So
Really?
we will see. Yeah, we'll see what
Wow.
happens.
So
We
what
might
did I-
be
what did I
better
say?
off with Drew Lock.
What did I say?
We'll see.
What did I say?
All right, guys, that's the end of Market Watch. However, I do have a little insert.
Oh,
I'd like to highlight Punks and Drublick and great because their stock is rising.
oh yay!
What looked like 2 dead birds on the side of the road, we finally are getting some life into these guys. They move up from 12th and 11th or 11th and 10th or wherever they were in the bottom of the barrel,
Pretty bird.
and they're bouncing back. It looks like Colin and Pascal in 9th and 10th have a very good chance of sneaking into the playoffs with the momentum that they carry from this week.
especially as Brendan and Jay keep losing.
Hey,
Please
don't
keep losing.
Don't point me out. My powerhouse team will be put together the right way this week. And I also want to mention the auto draftees and I fucks your mom, whose stock is going down.
down.
They are Now, I fucks your mom isn't as bad in a situation as the auto draftees. The auto draftees is on a 6-game losing streak. I'm facing him this week. He's projected to win. I looked at his team. He has 3 solid running backs. He has a good team. he has just been the victim of underperformance. And if he loses this week, he may not be able to climb out of the hole that he's dug himself in. And he looks like my team last year where I lost 10 in a row.
Yeah, I mean, I Fucks Your Mom is the only top 5 team that hasn't scored at least 1,300 points. And he has scored less than, as I mentioned, Colin and myself.
The fact that he's 6-4 is the only thing that's keeping him afloat right now.
Yeah,
as
luckily
he's
for
3
him,
games in.
He's got the least points against of anyone in our league.
And that's why he stands there. He's in 5th at 6-4. Babalu in 6th at 5-5. Jay and I share 7th and 8th at 4-6. Colin, Pascal, and Frank all at 3-7. Frank was all the way up. I think if he lost 6 in a row, he was 3-1, so he was probably a top 3 team in the beginning of the season. So big time falls from Frank, who is playing, because I looked at the fantasy lineup this morning, made my changes. I looked at Frank. I'm like, oh, he can make a few changes, but things aren't looking too good for him. And then when I got to your place, he had made his changes and he's projected to win, and shit is looking good for him. Once again,
Frank, destroy Brendan this week.
Don't
please.
do it, because if you do, then we're all gonna have like the same record, dude. And
I mean, I still got to win.
and the thing is,
Colin still has to win.
the thing is, the way that our matchups go is points, not points for, it's head-to-head record.
Yeah.
So whoever has the same record that's on the playoff, like on the bubble, as they say, it's going to depend on the teams that have that record only, your record against them.
Well, so I've lost to Colin, Jay, Brendan, and Baba.
That's troublesome.
All 4 teams ahead of me, I've lost to.
You basically need to win out.
I could lose 1 if everyone else loses all of them.
That's true. I've lost to Baba, who's 1 game ahead of me. I've beat Jay.
No, I keep saying that. I beat the brakes off Baba. That is a lie.
You did. So you have some life there. I beat Jay, beat Colin, beat Pascal, and face Frank this week. Those 4 teams are currently the ones that I'm in the pool with. So if I end with the same record as them and we're on that bubble, I have a better chance of getting in. It's kind of like,
but we'll see, because it's pretty circular on the who beat who. So
that's true.
We're kind of just gonna have to see how it rocks.
And on top of that, there's still 4 weeks left. So really, we could see a lot of changes, a lot of shakeups.
For sure.
And I face you again this year, so you have a chance at getting 1 more win back, but I doubt it.
Great.
Oh, man. Oh, by the way, breaking news. Jamar Chase just lost a toe and is out for the rest of the year. Great.
There you go. Anger in the football gods again.
Colin, I dare you to score more than 75 without him. All right, guys. So that'll bring us to one of our final segments. Finally.
Sly as a fox.
Yeah.
All right. It's getting potent in here.
All right. So I will start by tooting my own horn.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Toot, toot.
Toot. All right. So I'm giving it to myself for picking up Rashee Rice and Rashid Shaheed on waivers. It's not anything for this season. It is 100% completely for next season. However, I wanted to pick them up before anyone else did.
Yeah.
Now, of all the people on IR, especially the receivers, you've got like Brandon Ayuk, you've got Stephon Diggs. They are the guys that are most likely to return to full health
that
by
aren't
game
30
1.
plus.
Right, that aren't 30 plus.
I was looking at you started the thoughts, and I was like, oh, should I add Diggs and put him in the IR? Should I add Ayuk? Nah, he's probably not going to.
Ayuk's injury
still
is
on
really
Khan's
bad.
team, isn't he?
No, he dropped him. He dropped him. His injury is really bad. He might not be ready to go until midseason next
Probably
year.
not.
And even by then, it's going to take some time to ramp up. So he's probably a better pick in like the 11th round next year. But keepers for next year just doesn't make sense. So Rashee Rice, he is likely going to have a suspension.
Mm-hmm.
He might not be ready for week 1. So I'm not sure if I'm really going to want to keep him.
And then Rashid
Shaheed should definitely be ready by training camp. And he's put up some really good numbers, 15 to 20 points. I'm not talking like Jamar Chase 50-point numbers, but as a 10th round pick, he might be worth worth the money. So as we get closer to the draft next year, I'm going to have those two guys to pair with Devon Achane and potentially have a pretty strong keeper squad.
Nice. All right, guys. Well, my Sly as a Fox pick goes to myself.
No, we didn't.
Yes. I gave it to myself
I hate us.
on behalf of Marv for benching Kyler and starting Tua.
Oh.
Dope!
Yeah. Okay.
That's it.
Yep.
Moving on.
Heard you.
Next segment is game plan. Now, we haven't had this segment in a while, man. We've been interviewing a lot of the members. A couple things fell through this week, so we don't have an interview for you, but we do have a game plan, and we want to talk about late season strategy. Basically just some pointers for late season strategy. I know Pascal has some information. I have some information we want to just kind of talk about. Do you want me to lead the way, or you want to lead the way?
I'll start off. I think one of the big things, and people have been doing this, they've been starting to roster their handcuffs. I decided to draft their handcuffs and then drop them.
Yeah.
So congrats on picking them up. Billy picked up Blake Corum. I think Mike picked up Trey Benson and then dropped him for some reason. But that's a good tactic as you go into the playoffs. Make sure that if your starter goes down, you've got his backup to pick up the slack.
That's true, and it's very smart to do so. I think before you do that, however, you need to review your roster for the weeks to come for the large portion of late season bye weeks. Now, I think week 12 and 14, we have some big time heavy listed buys. I think there's 6 teams in week 14, which is the final week of the fantasy regular season.
It's so dumb that they have bye weeks that late.
So you might want to take a look now or in the coming week or two to look at that matchup, the matchups for those weeks, and just make sure that you have your holes filled before you need to go to scramble the waivers and fight people for shitty quarterbacks and backup running backs.
Yep. Good point.
So,
that's yeah. I mean, I guess like if you're out of the playoffs, are we going after that?
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah,
there.
we're gonna go over that later. So yeah, no need to bring that up.
And you guys also, you want to look at all your individual player matchups for the playoff weeks to reinforce your positions if needed. For example, if you're playing like your quarterback faces the Vikings defense, you might want to look at your other backup quarterback or somebody who's on waivers for that week just to see if maybe the matchup supersedes the power of your starter.
Maybe make a trade before the trade deadline, get a quarterback that you want for that week. Like this is the time to really be looking ahead and seeing how your roster is going to be shaken out during those weeks.
And the NFL Fantasy app lets you know like the strength of schedule, basically the strength of your the defense you're playing against that position. In the beginning of the season, that's just hogwash because there's not much data. But now we have all kinds of data, so it really does kind of pan out.
And a bunch of data too.
Yeah, data, Ricky.
So lastly, you want to go over the last piece?
Yeah, last but not least, this is for everyone, especially if you're out of the playoffs. Just comb through your roster and rank players that you would give keeper value to for next season.
And hence why I gave myself the Sly as a Fox.
Yeah, it's good to give yourself a jump start on who your keepers might be and to make sure that you have some guys that are viable keepers. Like Sean, we found out this past offseason, only had one viable keeper. He could have kept other players, but he would have gotten less value. Right. Just make a list. Like I'm looking at my team, I have 4 or 5 keepers that are great.
Not Michael Pittman.
He actually has keeper value at the 10th round, depending on where his ADP goes next season. Yeah, he had a shitty year. Whatever. Yeah. ADP is all it's about. Look at the ADP. Yeah. Figure out what you're going to give up for that person. If you're going to save a few rounds, then that's value.
That's valid. If you have no one good, Michael Pittman might be someone worth trading for. You're going to get him for peanuts anyway.
It's a good keeper pick for Mike Longfellow. So send your trade offers. And that's really it. Just make sure that you're looking ahead and getting a little more hands-on. And
those people who do have good keeper picks, think about, we mentioned it during the trading block, but like think about trading them to, if you're in the playoffs and you have a good keeper pick, think about trading them to a non-playoff team for one of their good players so that you can bolster your team for the playoffs.
It's added value. It's really why we're doing keepers, because it gives another element of value for certain players, and it kind of helps. Yeah, it helps to strategize if like you're punting or going for the championship. So everybody get on it. The trade deadline is next Thursday. So we have one more episode before the trade deadline. So guys, get on your horns and we're gonna get to it. And that's it for game plan for this week, guys. Pretty awesome. Yep. We could jump into one of our final segments.
Second to last, yeah.
Yeah, second.
Yeah.
Parallel universe.
Parallel universe.
As usual, I have nothing to add to this segment.
Yes, I don't have much to add to this segment either. It's more kind of like ad-libbed. Jay's league is shaping out to be pretty exciting. I actually get to face him this week. I'm sitting in third. He's in last.
Damn.
So I'm really excited.
Damn, Kamish.
But I also did pull a East Coast virus move, even though that's the albino chameleons from Queens. I benched two 19-point scorers and ended up losing by just a little bit.
Damn.
So, and then in the family league, there's a couple of teams are starting to fade off. My little brother Kelsey is starting Anthony Richardson. His top running backs on IR. He's starting bye-week players. So, fantasy's more fun when everybody's involved. Even if you're losing, you should still be making moves. Like his dad's in last place, 1 win, but he makes crazy moves. He just made a trade, Mahomes for Cooper Kupp.
Nice.
So it's fun. It's fun when people play, though. So next year, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my cousin Jared take over my little brother Kelsey's team and have him merge his team with his wife, who is killing it. She's putting up like $170 a week on the same format as us.
And I've got some suggestions for our league for next year or the year after to make our league more competitive through the end of the season so that teams out of the playoff race still have a reason to play all the way through week 17.
Awesome. And, other than that, we've got fantasy basketball hoop. There it is. Just won my matchup this week. Did I play Ag? I don't even remember, man. That's the weirdest thing. Yeah, really, who does care? I do. So yeah, the other leagues, we don't really need to talk about that.
All right. So we gonna close it out?
Yeah, we're gonna close it out. Yeah, I beat my friend Trayvon.
Oh,
barely. Doesn't matter. This isn't a fantasy basketball show, right, Colin? Okay. So nothing from the punter league. Are we gonna punt that?
I think that they stopped caring about it because they don't even really talk about it.
Those guys suck.
It's too bad. I was really interested.
All right. Well, let's go out to the backyard. Who's getting bit today, Pascal?
Well, Brendan, as I mentioned earlier in the episode, that'll be you, my friend. You are the owner of the doghouse this week. And it's not just for one reason, it's for two.
What are they?
Numero uno. Yet again, you start the wrong guy, and yet again, you lose a game because of it. All you had to do was pick the right quarterback, and you would have knocked off our number one team. But instead, you shit the bed, and now you have to lie in it.
At least I'm in a doghouse.
But you deserve it because, like I said, the football gods don't look kindly on wishing injury on guys. So you did it again this week.
To be clear, I didn't wish injury. It was a comment after he came back into the game.
Yeah,
there would be
not back.
Yeah, he was. He left for one play.
I know, and you sent it before he came back.
No, I sent it after. And if he left in a stretcher, I care more than, fantasy doesn't matter when it comes to players' health.
Anyway.
Even if it's Chuba Hubbard, who I can't stand. Screw you.
The second reason is because how long is it going to take for me to get my $25 this time?
Only 4 more times of asking.
Last time I had to wait about 2 months. So should I be expecting it sometime in December, maybe?
Last time you waited 3 weeks.
I waited 7 weeks.
You'll wait 8 weeks.
I waited 7 weeks.
I'll get your payments out.
It took 7 weeks.
Matter of fact, I owe from week 5 and on. So you guys will get your money hopefully today.
Waiting. Colin's been waiting.
Yeah, he's actually been really quiet. No, he's been much more quiet.
Yeah, he literally just brought it up the other day in the chat.
Oh, he did, yeah.
Yes.
After Jamar scored 55.
After I was texting with him, and I'm like, are we ever going to get paid?
All right, guys. Well, my doghouse pick is going to go to Derek Carr for setting up Chris Olave and making him concussed 2 times in 3 weeks.
That was
what a piece of
That's
shit.
what Tom Brady was
Like,
talking about
I
when he was
ca-
talking about fucking hospital balls.
You got to look at what you're throwing at. I can't stand when quarterbacks throw to the receivers or running backs when they're about to get smushed.
Apparently that's Tom was talking about this, right? It's a big problem with quarterbacks in the league these days, and it's part of what's wrong with how they've taken away all of the ability of the defense, because quarterbacks think that they can just toss up whatever and the defense isn't going to hit them because they're going to get a penalty. But no, that's how you get your guys sent to the literal hospital.
That makes a good point. But my real doghouse pick to join me and Derek Carr goes to Aggie.
Whoa, shocker.
And it's not just for his shithole name. It's because he beat Jay and he still has the most ass of names. Oh, and he scored under 100 this past week. So add that to the stack of shit.
So you guys are just stewing in the shit this week, huh?
Yeah. Aggie, yo, let's look at IKEA for a pair of bunk beds for our doghouse. Because we're going to be in there a lot, it looks
Yeah.
like.
You're in the poverty house, so you need like sleeping bags.
Aggie's been there long
Maybe you
enough
could
that
get
he's
in
got
this- maybe
he's
you could
got
get in
pictures
one
up.
sleeping bag and stay warm.
See, I don't think Aggie'd be down with that.
No.
I'm comfortable with my
Yeah.
comfortability.
Yeah. Well, that's
Anyways,
the doghouse
guys.
for this week,
Oh
folks.
God, you know this week sucked. Hopefully next week is better. And always remember, guys, when setting your waivers, to
Put
put it in the air.
This is the Put It in the Air podcast.
What a shit show. That was a
Yeah.
really bad episode by
Just as bad as the week that we just
Hey,
had.
I won. I'll take it. That's my 3rd win on the year, so I'll take them where I get them.
Damn.
Fuck, it's 2:20. I got to go in like 15 minutes.
Yeah, I gotta make moves. Go take care of my little Olive May who just got spayed.
I was like, who the hell is that?
That's my gray cat.
That was like a
part
new-
of my family.
thought it was like a new nickname for Julia. I'm like, Olive May. That's
Nah,
a
man, it's
odd
one of my
nickname.
little girls.
Yeah.
She's family.
So how was the rain?
Oh, the white gummy bear flavor didn't disappoint.
No.
Yeah, it was nice.
All right.
And I feel good.
Yeah.
Like, Monster, I feel good, but like, I kind of start getting sweaty and stuff. This stuff
Yeah.
is like, kind of like,
Like Adderall to Coke.
yeah, like definitely a much more focused energy blast.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
I'll get another one for next week
Okay. Yerba mate. Give
Where
me
I-
some money.
where I can talk about your loss and my win.
All right. On that note, we out.
Peace.